What is going on, Eagle fans everywhere? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Sports Talk, and I'm here today with a very special guest. You know, the guy himself that got Twitter buzzing for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, without further ado, how are you doing, Mr. Chris McPherson? Please let them know how are you doing, and are you excited to be here?
JC, I don't know if I'm going to be able to match your intensity. So first and foremost, I got to give props to our social media team that handles everything that you see on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the whole like. So, but nonetheless, though, man, I can't believe it's a week from Sunday. I can't believe it's already here. This is absolutely phenomenal. I know the city is buzzing. The city's excited, and deservedly so. This team has had quite an offseason. This team made the playoffs in year one with Nick Sirianni, year one with Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback, and now with all the pieces they've added, and I'm sure we're going to touch all of them on this show, but an outstanding training camp. Everyone's come through healthy. This team is locked and loaded and ready to roll next Sunday in Detroit, where, in fact, if you're not able to make it out to the game, and obviously it's a road game, we got to wait till Monday night the 19th for the home opener. But fans, there are tickets being sold to watch the game at Lincoln Financial Field. It's a season kickoff party presented by Xfinity. It's only $5, okay? All the proceeds are going to the Eagles All-Season Foundation. You're going to get access to the locker room tours, tour of the field, alumni.
Wow.
All the events that you get. If you've been to the public practices, it's going to be that type of vibe. Only difference is, JC, the action won't be on the field. It's going to be on the video boards all around you. But basically, it's going to be a huge tailgate, and you get to watch the opener with your Eagles family. So if you guys are in the Philly region, definitely check it out. Only $5. Tickets are available now. So I can't wait. So I will actually be watching the game. I don't travel for road games anymore. I'll be watching it probably a mile down the road at the NovaCare complex. I might have to sneak over to the link just to check out the scene and the atmosphere, because I'm sure it's going to be wild. I'm sure that the tailgates are going to be just like you would think it's a home game. People are going to think that, wait, are the Eagles playing here or Detroit? So, yeah, it's absolutely exciting. I'm glad the Eagles are putting this event on.
That's what I'm talking about. $5, man. You can't beat that. And I did go to the open practice. I'm telling you, over 30,000 fans there for open practice. So imagine, September 11th, $5 tickets to actually go inside stadium, sit there and watch it on the big screen. But you can't beat that. Please, if you are in the Philly area, you can't go to the game. Just go to Philly. I'm telling you right now. If that's the only game you go to all year, just go there. It's a home opener. So who knows? So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so this big trade happened 48 hours ago, a little bit over 48 hours ago. Eagles traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Like, what was going through your mind when this trade happened? And is this a big deal for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to take you a little peek behind the curtain. I was sitting in like a marketing meeting or something, and, you try to be respectful. You have your phone to the side and whatnot, and then all of a sudden you come out, and I walk into our Eagles entertainment area, and all of a sudden everyone's like, so did you see the news? And it's like one of those things like, oh, no. It was told me I had a bunch of texts all of a sudden. I checked my phone. I had a bunch of texts that said Howie season. And I said, oh, boy, something went down. And, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he wants to go by CJ, but he is going to bring such an edge to this defense. I'm telling you, for fans who love defense, and you think about the great defenses, the great defensive players, he is so passionate. He leaves it all out on the field. The guy is a ball hawk. He's around the ball, football savvy and smart. I mean, he's working day and night to pick up this defense so that he can be out there with the guys on September 11th. I mean, Nick Sirianni today was talking about, we had a red zone drill in practice, and he's already making plays on the ball. So Dallas Goedert described it perfectly. He's the type of guy that, like, okay, he's going to be great to go against. But he's going to be the guy at the end of the day you want on your team. Okay, he's going to be a pain in the side for the opposition, but you're going to want him in the locker room backing you up on game day. So he's had an outstanding career. I mean, known mainly as a nickel cornerback during his time with the Saints. He played safety, played both while he was at Florida. When he came out of the University of Florida, he was like a hybrid, a guy who could play corner, play safety, have that versatility. But he's become one of the best slot corners in the NFL. But the thing is here, JC, the fact is that the way Jonathan Gannon uses his defensive backs. In the individual drills, the safeties and the nickel corners are warming up together, okay? There's a lot of similarities between the roles. So even though it's going to be played obviously a little bit deeper off the ball than playing in the slot, okay, he's got the vision, he's got the athleticism, he's got the tackling ability. A lot of it is just coming up and trying, getting used to the terminology, getting used to playing alongside Marcus Epps. I think when you looked at the roster toward the end of training camp and the preseason, I think everyone said safety is probably the one area you figure they may address. And Howie has gone out this offseason and pretty much anything that you wanted on your Eagles fan wish list, he has checked it off for you.
He checked it off. I mean, I could not disagree with anything that you just said. And I didn't see that trade coming, but I'm glad he did the trade because when he released Anthony Harris, I'm like, Howie must have a plan. I was like, wow, open eyes on Twitter. I'm like, what's going on? And then next thing you know, 5 minutes later, CJ was on our team. So with that being said, all right, does Howie Roseman have another move to make before the season starts? I mean, where is the weakness on this team? If you was, the GM or the owner, like where would you, say, hey, that's our weakness right there. So let's address it before the season starts.
That's the thing. When you look at this roster, the one area I would have figured they would have addressed at some point, okay, because you're trying to figure out who's going to make the 53, and you figure there'll be some moves afterwards, waiver wire claims, you see who's out there. The depth at running back, which the Eagles addressed today by claiming Trey Sermon, the former third-round pick. He played at Oklahoma, Ohio State, was drafted by the Niners last year. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. Well, he brings that productiveness, that size to Philadelphia to add depth to this rotation now. So you have Miles Sanders, who's coming off the hamstring injury and has not played a whole lot in training camp, didn't play in the preseason or only played a little bit in that first preseason game like most of the starters, but really hasn't played since. Okay, you got Boston Scott, you got Kenneth Gainwell. Okay, you need to have a little bit of insurance there. Sermon is a guy who certainly can do that. He's a guy that when he sees the hole, he can get downhill quickly. He has good vision from that regard. So the way the Eagles utilize their scheme, having both the gap scheme runs and the zone blocking, okay, look, those gap scheme runs, they're going to be a good fit for Trey Sermon here in Philadelphia. And also, Michael P. Ryan was signed to the practice squad, former fourth-round pick, out of Florida. So he was someone who obviously very, very productive. He was the Orange Bowl MVP a couple of years ago. He's gotten some time on the field with the Jets the last couple of seasons. But now you look at your running back depth and you say to yourself, okay, you feel good between the versatility and the experience going into this week one game where, okay, you don't know what Miles Sanders is going to be able to bring to the table. It doesn't need to all be on him in week one. You obviously got Boston, you got Kenneth, but you got a little bit more insurance now because you can call up P. Ryan, you can call up Kennedy Brooks from the practice squad if you needed to.
I mean, the running back position to me, like, I don't know what's going on with Miles Sanders, but so let me ask you a question. So with all these running backs on this roster, I mean, is it a good news for Miles Sanders, bad news for Miles Sanders? This is his last year on his contract. I mean, do you see any moves happening? Let's just say the first few games into the seasons, he have over 100 yards every game. Do you feel like Howie is going to pull the trigger and say, you know what, let's sign to an extension, or just let him ride out his last year of his contract?
I don't know. I honestly don't know how that situation is going to play out, but, the Eagles have said emphatically that Miles is the guy. Shane Steichen was the one who most recently said that when he's back on the field, they want to let everyone know he is the guy. And it seems like it was ages ago already, but there was that day where they were talking about Miles Sanders was taking the second team reps, and he had never taken second team reps. And, it's like Coach Sirianni has to go and debunk it the next day, be like, we rotate the backs, like, we're trying to mix and match because you need to see how different guys work in different packages, okay? There's going to be times during the season where you're going to have Boston Scott running behind the starting offensive line. Gainwell is going to be running behind the first-team offensive line. I mean, look, Miles is the guy. He's got to work his way back onto the field. He hasn't practiced yet. Even the Eagles have had the workouts the last couple of days. He's still been sidelined. So obviously that's going to be one of the big key storylines to follow next week going into Detroit is what is Miles Sanders' status going to be? And Nick Sirianni has not put a timetable yet on his return.
Okay, look, hey, I like it. So
I mean, let's go back to the preseason. The little bit we saw in the preseason game, he was featured in the run game, he was featured in the pass game. I mean, that's the thing. If you get the rookie year Miles Sanders out, where he was catching the ball comfortably out of the backfield, he's able to show off that big play running ability. I mean, it's just another dynamic weapon to add into this offense. So hopefully he's back on the field for week 1. And again, like I said, that's going to be a big thing that we're going to be looking at next week when the injury report and all that stuff comes out and the team is back on the field. They are back Monday practicing on Labor Day. So obviously that's going to be a big storyline to watch, and we'll take it from there. So sorry to cut you off, JC.
No, you're good, because we saw him out today on the practice field. So I don't know if he practiced or not. We saw him, taking a couple of handoffs from Jalen Hurts, but I mean, I don't really know if he practiced or not. Did you hear anything? Did he practice or just did the warm-up drills?
He probably went through individual. I mean, to my knowledge, he's working his way back, and they'll do all the participation stuff in next week when they're back doing their full practice. I think they have a walkthrough on Monday. The players are off Tuesday, and then the preparation for Detroit is in full swing with the game plan installation and all that starting Wednesday.
Okay, all right. So look, Howie Roseman. I mean, he's a guy with pride. I mean, the past couple of years we saw him prideful. He drafted a couple guys. Reagor, JJ, Arcega-Whiteside, they both got traded to the exact same team that the other guys that we wanted is on right now. One of them got released, JJ. What was going through your mind? And did you see that JJ and Reagor would not be on this team to start the season?
I'll start with JJ. Look, JJ has worked diligently behind the scenes to try to make that transition to tight end, and it was just not a situation that was going to work out. You've got Dallas Goedert, who is going to be an absolute monster at the position this season. Yes. Okay. The Eagles, look, Jack Stoll, brings versatility with the ability to be an inline blocker. They like the growth they've seen from him. Grant Cotero, they're very high on. I'm telling you, Tyree Jackson is a guy that they are excited about in the building. He can't play in the first 4 games because he's coming off that knee injury from last season. He was put on the PUP list. There are people in that building that are so ecstatic to find out what he's going to be able to bring when he gets back on the field. They think with that he is a legit 6'6", 6'7", okay, athletic. Like, I'm telling you, there's buzz about Tyree Jackson in that building and what he can bring to the offense. But so, again, Noah Togiai had a solid training camp. There were just too many options where JJ, I mean, I remember when they were doing the initial cut down to 85, going from 90 to 85, and I said, he may not make it to that. And sure enough, that's when the Eagles made the trade to at least give him an opportunity to latch on. And I know he was cut by Seattle, but I think he did sign back to their practice squad, if I'm correct. But he gets to be back on the West Coast. He played his college ball at Stanford. It doesn't always work out with guys, but it's not for a lack of effort, nothing on his end. It just was a situation where there were more talented guys who ended up getting drafted and, turned out to be better players. And for Jalen Reagor, it's a situation for me where I thought, and we've heard the coaches say this, he was very consistent in camp. Every year previously, he would have that flash play, that Randy Moss one-handed grab, and you'd be like, wow, that's what we've been waiting for from this guy. Where's this been? And then you just wouldn't see it in the games. There would be little flashes, little glimpses of what he did at TCU, but it just wasn't there on a consistent basis. Our media time was very limited with the players during training camp. The locker room access actually begins this week for the first time since pre-COVID. But it would have been interesting to know what his mindset was like when he knew you had A.J. Brown, you had Devontae Smith, you had Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. I thought was such a professional in training. I thought I know Dave Spadaro has been writing Quez Watkins had an underrated summer. I thought Zach Pascal, after coming back from the food poisoning instance, that he was very underrated throughout camp, because I think he's a guy that can fill in at all the wide receiver positions. And if any of the guys in front of him goes down, he can step in and the Eagles won't miss a beat. And he brings physicality, tenaciousness. I loved what I saw. I was very, very happy with what I saw from Zach Pascal. So we talk about those 4 guys. Reagor's your 5th guy, and this is a guy who has been like the featured part of the offense at TCU. He was the first-round pick here. Was he going to be, okay with maybe 2 to 3 catches or targets a game and, punt return duty? I don't know. So, again, he put in a lot of time during training camp. He was good at practice. I think the Eagles just figured it's a change of scenery for him, and it's a chance to get some draft capital down the line in return, because you figure, again, we're now talking about our 5th wide receiver. Like, this is someone you're probably going to try to figure out what else can we do with that spot. Well, the Eagles were able to get a couple of future draft picks out of the situation. So hopefully they can turn some things around. I mean, we're going to see Jalen Reagor in week 2. Eagles home opener.
Yes, we are. We are going to see Reagor.
But it's interesting that you brought up that they went to the teams, that they have the players who ended up having, better careers. I did not put 2 and 2 together. Everyone thought of it when the JJ trade happened, but I didn't realize it's like with both of them, that's what ended up happening. So, no, but again, best of luck to the both of them, but it just didn't work out for either one of them in Philly. But going back to Howie Roseman, credit to him to saying, okay, look, we're not going to hit on every guy, but, you could have said, if we're going all in, like some of the national media pundits have started saying, Eagles are all in, Eagles get CJ Gardner-Johnson, this is an all-in year. Well, I would have kept Reagor if you're going all in. I would want the best 53 players possible. Reagor certainly would have fit the bill there, but no, we're trading to get future draft capital, and to make something out of that. So to think with Howie is, okay, he realized, okay, sunk cost. We're talking about, economics here. It's a sunk cost. What can I do to get out from this? Okay. I use my next year's first-round pick on Devontae Smith, and he sets the Eagles franchise rookie receiving record. And then in the draft, and, after sniffing around wide receivers all offseason, to be able to get A.J. Brown, it's masterful what Howie's done, because you look at, it's the same thing with the C.J. Gardner-Johnson situation, okay? A.J. Brown, okay, obviously they must have been talking long-term deal. It didn't work out. Gardner-Johnson was having a hold-in because of a long-term contract situation. All right, Howie says, all right, look, if it's not working out for you, we're going to make it work for you here in Philadelphia. So both, I just think of both Brown and Gardner-Johnson with the alpha mentality that they are bringing, okay? And I'm disagreeing with Jeremiah. Part of the best 53, like, no. Not
Your fans just can't stand. Look, fans just couldn't.
That's fine.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
Gone. He's gone. But he definitely was deserving of a spot on the roster. I understand the fans, and the feelings that they have for him. But no, he earned a spot on the roster. But the Eagles felt that it was better to get draft capital instead of keeping him around as a 5th receiver and possibly a punt returner.
Look, I agree. Me personally, I would have kept Jalen Reagor. I keep telling people that I would have kept them because, like year 3, a lot of guys don't come in the league automatically putting up all pro numbers, Pro Bowl numbers. Not at all. They need time to work it in, especially stuff that was going on with Jalen Reagor, both all season, facing adversity, but still managed to still make it on the 53-man roster. I would have gave him one more year, but hey, look, it is what it is. Look, I'm an Eagle fan, not a player fan, so we got to go on and move on. So the Eagle practice squad, we got 17 guys on the practice squad. Who do you see on the practice squad? We do have an extra spot, right, on the 53-man roster. So who do you see?
Well, the 53-man roster is set now because they claimed Ian Book, the quarterback from the Saints, and then they claimed Trey Sermon today. So they're set cool. There. They're waiting to fill it. There's one spot on the practice squad. I know Nick Sirianni talked about getting Davion Taylor back. So if that happens, that wouldn't be a surprise to me. Someone who was showing a lot of development, was growing in that role. He was a project from the time he was selected in the draft. They knew he was uber athletic, but, needed to work on the instincts and understanding the X's and O's of the game because he just didn't have a lot of playing reps. And he was making strides last year. He was getting some significant playing time, but then he suffered the season-ending knee injury and was not able to capitalize on that. And then throughout the course of training camp, he showed flashes, was up and down. But again, when you signed a Kaiser White, You added Nakobe Dean. You have TJ Edwards, who's rock solid there. And then if you're factoring the guys, the edge rushers like the Kyren Johnsons of the world, and my screen froze on me. Hopefully you're still.
Are you good?
Okay, so you got the Kyren Johnson or the Hassan Reddick, obviously, Patrick Johnson, all those guys. It just wasn't going to be a situation for him. But I'm trying to think about all the guys who are on there. It's, again, it's good to have guys, the veteran guys like the Andre Sacheret who can fill in on special teams for you. Anthony Harris obviously can come in and be a spot starter if need be for you on defense if the situation presented itself. I know Britton Covey. He was someone that I think was kind of hinted at in the press conference about while they're trying to figure out the returner situation, they could bring up someone from the practice squad if need be. And Britton Covey got some of that in training camp in the preseason, so there's a potential option there. So I'm trying to think about some of the other guys who are on there, but I mean it's really all the guys. What's that?
Deion Kane.
Deion Kane was. I think the thing with Deion Kane is special teams. Again, you're going back to those last few spots on the 53-man roster. You're going to need someone that's going to be able to chip in on special teams and help out there as well. But Deion Kane was very, very productive throughout the course of the training camp. It seemed like every day Deion Kane was making plays. I mean, he to me is the ideal practice squad player, someone who the quarterback can trust, that can give a good look on the scout team. But I'm trying to, it's all these guys who all had shots, who all made strong cases to make the 53-man roster. But, it was a tougher, roster to make this year just because of how deep this team is from all the way from number 1 all the way down to 53.
So who's on the 53-man roster that you swap out on the practice squad? Because I feel like Kevon Wallace, to me, I don't know what they saw at camp because the whole camp, I really didn't hear anything about him. I heard more about Anthony Harris and Marcus Epps. And also Kevon Wallace is on the 53-man roster. Anthony Harris is on the practice squad. So do you see that changing anytime soon? Or who's your surprise on the 53-man roster?
No, I mean, you go with the surprises. You start with the undrafted free agents. I'll give a little peek behind the curtain. It's kind of a rush when you find out. Okay, here are the guys. Here are the roster moves that we're making to get down to 53, and you're trying to get your graphics together, your position by position, like who's at each spot. And myself and so we were talking about like, okay, we kept getting 52. Like we kept adding up the numbers, like we have 52. Like I'm texting with PR. Do we have only 52? Because the Eagles have done that before, where they only kept 52 at the onset, and like, no, there's 53. And the PR guy goes back, "You're missing Josh Sills, aren't you?" And I'm like, Josh Sills, yeah, that's the one. That's the one we're missing. And it's funny because on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, Fran Duffy hosted, Ben Fennell, myself, we came on, we did daily training camp recap episodes. And we would always talk about the O-line, D-line, 101s, and it felt like Josh Sills made a play or won a quality rep each and every week. And then he went to the joint practices and showed well against some of the veterans that those guys had to offer. But it was just, you looked at the offensive line and you just said, okay, it's such a deep group. Again, there's so many talented players that were returning. I don't know if he's going to be able to make his way. And sure enough, he finds his way in there. He impressed Jeff Stoutland enough that he won a spot. Reed Blankenship, the safety from Middle Tennessee State, 5-year starter. He's someone who I heard in the spring caught the coach's attention. That early on, that they were like, this is a guy that we would love to get him on the practice squad, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get him on the practice squad. And he played really well in the preseason to the point where you're like, we're not gonna be able to hide this guy. And then Josh Jobe was another player who, that young. It's interesting because the young corners was one of the storylines of training camp because you had Slade, they got James Bradbury, Avonte Max, so your top 3 were set. Zach McPherson was your second-year guy. You're probably expecting to be your 4. All right, well, who's going to be the 5th if you're going to keep 6 corners? You had Kerry Vincent, Mac McCain, Tay Gowan, and Josh Jobe, the rookie free agent, played Alabama, played special teams. He flashed, and he's such a tall, long body, athletic. There's a lot of Alabama guys in this building. Okay,
Yes,
we
there
talk
is.
not just players, but you talk about Jeff Stoutland, Joe Panunzio, who's the assistant special teams coach. Like, there are a lot of Alabama ties, and they were like, this is a guy that, look, we're going to be able to get it out of him. We'll get it out of him. And they want to make sure they kept him around. So congrats. And in fact, Dave Spadaro, Eagles Insider, did a great column on what that day was like for the three guys that was just posted. So, it's tremendous. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like it. I like it. Alabama, SEC, Howie. Just stick with that, and you can't go wrong. But all right, so a few more minutes with you. So, Eagles season opener versus the Lions. What are some things are you looking for, in this game? I mean, this is not, in my opinion, this is not going to be as easy as a lot of Eagle fans think. It's a home opener, hard knocks. I mean, it's just going to be a first game of the season. We don't know their offense or defense, all that stuff. So what are you looking for in this upcoming game?
The first thing is, when I think of the Detroit Lions and I think about that game last year, obviously that was a season-changing game for the Eagles. And I'll be honest, I think a lot of people were nervous going into that game because that was coming off the heels of the Raiders game. They were 2-5, and there was a lot of concerns that the Lions were fighting. They were playing hard. Dan Campbell had them playing gritty and tough, and you were thinking to yourself, are we going to get upset by them? But it seemed like the Lions, because they played the Rams, if you remember, they played the Rams the week before. Obviously, the Jared Goff, revenge game.
Yes.
They went all out. They went all out to try to beat them. And after throwing basically the kitchen sink, whatever metaphor, cliche you want to use, they said they had nothing left, okay? And the Eagles were able to catch fire and be able to blow them out. This is going to be a tough physical team, okay? Yeah. The biggest thing to me, obviously we all want to see how is Jalen Hurts going to look, with the connection that he's made with A.J. Brown, with all this talent around him. The commenter I just saw was like how they're loving how they're building around Jalen Hurts, and that's really what the Eagles and Howard Roseman have done. Okay, there, Jason put him back out there so we could see it again. Yeah, they've given Jalen Hurts all the weapons he needs. Okay, you've got quality running backs. You've got a top-tier offensive line. You've got an A1 receiver. You got an A2 receiver. You have a top-tier tight end. It's incredible what they've been able to build around Jalen Hurts. Okay, well, now we got to see it in action. We got to see them put it together. So first and foremost, we're going to be looking for that. And then it's just kind of the same thing with Jonathan Gannon and this new look Eagles defense. Okay, you could say last season, first year with the scheme, didn't have maybe the pieces he needed. The pass rush wasn't quite there. Wasn't able to do as many things as he wanted to. How we said, we're going to give you a quality nose tackle in first-round pick Jordan Davis. We're giving you a premier edge rusher in Hassan Reddick. We're going to make sure that you're set at corner, bringing James Bradbury to take Steven Nelson's spot. Even though Steven Nelson was a solid number 2 last year, you got an upgrade there with James Bradbury. Oh, and just to finish it off, we're going to give you a top-tier quality safety, an up-and-coming emerging star defensive back in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. What are we going to see now, Coach Gannon? That's really the big thing. So it's funny because Gannon said he said early in training camp how it was like, well, I can't really hide anything now because the tape's out there. You guys have seen us play for.
What tape?
He said, please. We know full well we haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen a thing yet. So. So it's really, I think it's going to be the new looks from both of those. And look, this Eagles team, there's a lot of praise nationally right now. There's a lot of pundits saying they're going to win the division. They could be playoff contenders, this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. That is a different mindset for this team where last year, they were the underdogs. Nick Sirianni was playing the roots. Everyone was doubting him. Everyone doubting Jalen. That's changed a little bit. That when you go from being you go from being the hunter to the hunted.
Yes.
Okay, you got to figure out how you're going to adjust to that. So is this a situation where you want to make sure that you're not going into this week 1 game. Oh, we smoked the Lions last year in their house. Okay, we're a better team. We're going to do it again. And I think the guys have been very good about saying, whatever they're asked, is this going to be a top offense? Is this the best offensive line? Like, okay, they all acknowledge, look, on paper, this is great. On paper, this has the potential. That's the deadly word, potential, to be a very, very good team, but they've got to go put it together. That's the biggest thing. So, the keys to the Lions, okay, obviously, does the offensive line dominate? Can Jalen Hurts effectively run the offense? What do we see out of A.J. Brown? Because A.J. Brown was just so damn good in training camp. It's one of those things where, like, the new acquisition, you're, like, hoping that it's as good. It was better. It was better than good.
Yes.
And when it wasn't A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert was the guy. It's been training camp was like Jalen Hurts is like, okay, is it AJ's there or Dallas today? Which one? Okay. And because I know Devontae missed some time with the groin injury, so pretty much he was focusing on those 2 guys, working that middle of the field, the run after the catch. I mean, there's so much potential for this offense, but we've got to see it now. And it's the same with the defense. So I could go on because everyone's talking about how excited they are for the season. These are the things we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for months. Since training camp started. It's like, okay. You see the guys out there. You see how everything's gelling together. Now we want to see this in a game action where they're unleashing it for 60 minutes, where it's game plan specific. You're putting in your best plays. You're pulling out the tricks. There's no more of this. Okay, we're gonna play vanilla. We're gonna just see how guys run plays. We're not. No, you're scheming against Aiden Hutchinson. You're scheming against Jared Goff. You're scheming against DeAndre Swift and T.J. Hawkinson and Amon St. Brown, who very, very underrated and productive receiver. Very, very underrated and productive in the second half of last season. You're thinking about Lions, who are the names. Amon St. Brown, yeah, he's right there. He's going to be someone that Slay and Bradbury, whoever gets lined up against them, they're going to have to handle. So, and that this Detroit team opening at home, they're going to take on the personality of the coach. They're going to be fired up at home. They want to set the tone early. You got to be able to withstand that. It's going to be very emotional early on in that game. And you got to make sure the Eagles have to make sure that they're ready for it.
All right. So I can't go after that. I'm speechless because you broke everything down. Like I tell everybody, do not take no team lightly. They're also watching what we did this offseason. We are supposed to be the favorite, so we are going to be the hunted. All right, so we're no longer the underdog. We can't play that role at all. We are most likely the favorite. So, last prediction. I don't know if you're going to say it on here or not. Who wins?
I'm going Eagles going to win the game. Come on now.
All right.
Of course, we'll figure out a way. We'll figure out. The Eagles. I'm very, very confident in what this team has built. Coming off, 2 weeks of tough practices in Cleveland, in Miami, on the road, extensive. It's similar to 2017 when they had the back-to-back weeks in, LA, playing in Seattle, and they just kept the team out there the whole week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that type of situation where you're just on the road, bonding, going through this whole thing together. It was some practices in there. The Eagles have had a chance now to regroup, regain their focus, and start putting things together. So again, when I look at the captains, they named their 7 captains today, and I look at someone like Jalen Hurts, and it's like that he is going to be ready. He's ready for the moment. He has been waiting for this opportunity all off season. He's put in the work. I really, really want to see him succeed and thrive. The Eagles have given him a great situation. The city is behind him. I want to see him come out and thrive. And to the last comment, I don't know if Nate Sudfeld is going to have any secrets left to be able to give to the Lions there. So,
there's no secrets. There's no secrets. But
I don't know what study's got left, man. I don't know what study's got left, but it's fine. But again, look at the coaching staff. You got Douche, you got Phipp. I mean, there's you got Honey Bunch Fraley. There's just tons of Eagles ties all throughout that building there. So. But it's going to be a great one. It's a great test on the road. It's a great situation, great atmosphere. And again, look, Eagles fans can be at the link, and you're saying it's not a home game. $5. It's Xfinity season kickoff party. Hopefully we'll see you there on September 11th, a week from Sunday. Can't believe it.
Exactly. I was just about to tell you, just say the last thing before I let you out of here. Look, if you just now tune in, $5, you could get into the link to watch the Eagles home opener on the big screen TV. So look, it's an on-field experience. I was at open practice. You cannot beat it. So any last words you have to say before I let you go? Because I know you're a busy guy, and we are at 35 minutes. And thank you for your time. Thank you very much. And I don't want to ruin our relationship, so I'm going to be respectful with your time. So thank you. Any last words before I let you go?
No, I think we said it all, JC, man. No, I appreciate you having me on once again. We'll definitely do this soon during the season. And, can't wait to see the Link Rock in next Sunday for the party. And then Monday night home opener, Dick Vermeil will be honored. He'll be in the house. So Minnesota Vikings, prime time, great way to kick off the home slate for the 2022 season. So it's JC, it's here, baby. I was gonna say, let's buckle in, let's ride. It's here. We're gonna get ready.
There is no tomorrow. It's here. It's here now, and we are no longer underdogs. We just gotta go out and punch every team in the mouth, and don't expect any team to lay down for us. And thank you very much for everybody that's tuning in. Thank you very much. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and please go follow my friend Chris McPherson. He runs the Eagle Twitter account. Look, if you're not on Twitter, you are missing out. Breaking news, events, pictures, updates, uniforms, everything is on Twitter. So just go on the Philadelphia Eagle Twitter page, and as always, go Birds.